Welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, where we are in search of hope.
These are the memoirs of Cloud Strife. Sector 7 has fallen here and there.
Life sucks. The end.
I would have had a very weird dream, but because I did enough things with Tifa instead, I had a nice talk with her instead of having a trippy dream where Aerith speaks to me in it.
And I almost crushed her with my arms.
Even though the guy who's playing this game doesn't ship me with her for some reason.
Life is strange that way. But now...
Yeah,
because it's Square Enix. By the way, you still have to finish that game also.
Oh, yes,
it's like I said before. One thing that I think Cloud deserves is a nice, peaceful, quiet life.
So what, you ship him with Aerith instead?
No.
Well, all right.
Joe, but Aerith in this game, life isn't going to be quiet.
Also, Joe, Dwibs, knowing even the...
No!
remember, Pedro, that Dwibs doesn't like age gap in the slightest.
Even if it is legal.
Not just that, I still think there is a margin of which age gap may still be tolerable. You know, it's when you start going very outlandish where, you know, you should draw the line. But the point being, there's a thing, Dwibs, even with the context of the original game, Cloud has always been a person that... probably just to, you know, overcome his own insecurities and prove that he's his own place in the world, loves to, you know, apply violence in a sense that he wanted to be a soldier, and even if he got a bit ashamed that he never got in, he didn't quit the job he was doing as a simple Shinra, you know, minor soldier grunt, you know. So settling down for quote-unquote peaceful lives really doesn't. So I think, oh, here we go. This is the other character coming from the novels, Kyrie. And no, this is no Devil May Cry jokes, please.
Also, Cloud tried settling down, and we got Advent Children out of the deal.
And by the way, guess who voices Kyrie?
Erica Harlacher.
And the voice actress from Persona 5.
I recognize the voice, yeah.
The sky is falling and avalanches to blame. But wait! Did you
Also, I shot.
activities? For all their claims about fighting for the slums, they're nothing more than pawns.
I'll tell you, after playing Harley, anything's a step up for her.
Yeah, but anyway, there we go. Kyrie's job is to spread fake news. She's not really on the payroll for Shinra, but she's basically just she's similar in terms of characterization of Yuffie. She wants to gain the most profit, even if she doesn't have to do, you know, the quote-unquote the right thing. In this case, spreading fake rumors just to earn a few more gil.
I couldn't care less about the rest, but that shit.
Hold on, Barrett.
Count to 3.
There's no point in
Damn, that's defeatist, but she's got a point.
Well, it's not. It's called facing reality, Joe. Like if the battle is lost before it even begins, what's the point?
Well, I'm just pointing out how it's a bit defeatist in tone here and there, not necessarily in attitude. That said, though, there is a time and place for this sort of thing.
Keep following this path we chose. Wherever. So we can say we did all we could.
That's a question, though, Barrett. What is there left to do at this point? I mean, Avalanche is more or less finished.
Instead of looking forward, you need to look around. Everyone here is terrified. So I'm asking you, don't.
Well, if we don't, then
well, that's the thing. You can move forward. Also, Cloud doesn't even have any input on this. You can move forward just without having to cause a ruckus. That's simple.
Okay, so to try and rebuild our relationship with the local townsfolk, for the rest of this part, and I believe a bit of the next one, maybe more, I can't remember for sure, we're going to be doing some side quests around the slums, and indeed beyond. One of the side quests actually going about all over the place, but we'll get to that later.
See, now, this is a good excuse to put side quests here. You could either want to move on...
Oh, Cloud, have you seen the kids around by any chance?
Also, thank God Cloud didn't see me.
Okay, Miss Folia, not for nothing, but this is the second time we're trying to search your damn kids. I know that the slums are, a bad place to live and all, but if you're not, if you can't be able to keep all of them around, hire someone else, extra eyes and all.
It's like you have a duty of care to these children.
Maybe she doesn't have the time and money.
Maybe next night don't go to do your dancing job at the Honeybee Inn and stay to sleep a bit more.
To be fair, I guess she has to make the money for that orphanage somehow.
Keep in mind that the dialogue that she says to you basically says that she's not doing it for the money, but just to prepare her career.
Interesting.
Oh, hello.
Cloud, I'm glad to see that you're okay.
Yep, I am
In these
alive.
trying times, I hope to develop new materia to help us endure.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chadley, and interesting bit of music you got playing in the background.
Well, it's because I think the other guy that has the shop there has the Cost of the Soul CD.
Okay, so what am I going to get from this guy? Or rather, what can I afford? Because Gil's a bit hard to come by in this game.
Cloud, I've come up with the most fascinating theory.
Oh, really?
Perhaps you can lend me your assistance in gathering.
Unless it's a theory if I had to get rid of the fucking Deventers, I'm not interested.
I hope you will continue to help me gather vital.
And I don't care that they're called Whispers. I know about that last part, but the Deventers to me.
See anything you like?
Well, at least the kids are still okay.
Hey, I'm thankful that Chadley invented the ability to job cut because,
Of course he did.
yeah, but hell, if they could actually do that in universe, their lives would be a hell of a lot more simpler.
Since we're listening to the theme of it, one does have to wonder how jacked up is the Golden Saucer place going to be in the remake.
Well, that's the thing, Joe. But in my head canon, the gold saucer was hijacked by Eorzean universe hoppers who stole it and reconverted it so it would suit their own.
Dwibs, if you actually paid attention to what the people in Gold Souls were telling you in 14 is that it's an entire new location built by Hildebrand's father.
But my theory's more funny.
Or better yet, it'll probably say, sorry, but we're closed. Gambling is wrong.
Yeah, it's like how Pokemon.
Okay, to be perfectly fair, unlike in the Pokemon games, the Gold Saucer actually didn't provide major gambling games that may upset the SRB.
Okay, so we're going to be tackling a few of these side quests at once. We got find the lazy housekeeper's children. We've got find the clumsy stable hands chocobos.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, in this case, it was more like all the corners that was going along, frightened them all.
Interestingly enough, probably because you have to operate on a bigger ground, this particular side quest actually does give you a marker for where the chocobos are supposed to be.
Yeah, it certainly helped.
Weird.
Oh, by the way, here's the world map.
Which is based on the Battle Zone-esque holographic reconstruction of Midgar from the original game. That's nice.
Yeah, 35% and I show the menu map. this map, I mean. Oh, I mean, mind you, I have a hard time reading.
Oh, you again.
Line graphics and.
What brilliant timing you have. Oh,
sorry, did the vents behind him just change texture before my eyes?
For the Daily Buzz.
Unreal Engine 4 Cloud.
You mean that trash filled with Shinra fluff pieces?
Well, yes, that's fair.
I love how he doesn't even try to hide it at this point.
Ties with the company. Curious.
I'm listening.
Here's the scoop. A certain division of Shinra that shall remain nameless was planning to seize Corneo's assets. But before they could, the key to his secret vault within which his misbegotten gains were securely tucked away was stolen.
Dun dun dun.
That the thief is the Undercity's beloved hero, the Angel of the Slums. The unidentified bandit who's been targeting anyone with
Yeah, I don't know if I said this before, but when I first played this, I thought, when I first heard about the Angel of the Slums,
did you think it was Yuffie?
No, I thought it was Aerith.
Why would you
be
think
cool.
Well, just as a cute way to foreshadow her, probably.
Yeah.
Shiroi.
She's still in Wu Tai doing all that custom shit that she hates.
Well, again. For the remake, they could have changed it up that, she happened to come here early to try and get
That's not
whatever
allowed.
she could on the
That's
place.
not allowed, Joe.
Sure. Since when does Yuffie ever play by
Not
the
just
rules?
that, Shiroi. Once again, there are already things in this remake that are actual proper changes from the original
Kates
timeline.
have showed up way earlier before he's supposed to show up.
The point being that the way, I think me and Pedro did mention it in a previous part, but the way the game handles this particular set of side quests, it makes it pretty clear on who's the Angel of the Slums really early on.
Yeah.
In fact, on that point, Joe, we just said, again, I won't say too much because we haven't learned the full truth about them yet. But one thing I will say, I don't think the Whispers are very good at their jobs.
Oh yeah. But yeah, honestly, okay, Aerith being the Angel of the Slums, that would be an interesting bit.
Whoa.
However, at this point, we know it can't be her because she's currently in. Well, I mean, unless she stole it while we were there, but since we were playing as her and never saw her steal the documents in the Corneo place, unfortunately, it can't be her.
Kid, you may want to get away.
Hey, Cloud.
Gotta be one of them lost.
None of you are questioning all this.
The
all this shit.
Vapors.
What'd you say?
Bitch.
What are you doing out here? And where's everyone else?
Well, we saw
And what the heck kind of giant spiders left a
Okay, I
spider
guess
like that big?
these kids suffer from Ghibli syndrome. Some weird shit happens before their eyes, and their answer is, that was weird.
Let's go explore more.
So these kids grow out of it, otherwise we're doomed.
Oh, great, more ghosts.
Cloud. Okay.
Everyone disappeared.
There we go, ghost variants.
Oh god, that again. Alright, let's take him out. Die.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, we need to show up again.
Cloud, don't slash Tifa. Cloud, do you hate Tifa secretly or something?
No.
Well, I mean, I should be asking you that, honestly.
There's no friendly fire in here anyway, Dwibs. So what's the problem? Well, go ahead.
I mean, no, that's not true, Sue. I like Tifa. It's just I get a bit careless with my aiming, and I'm kind of glad, and I'm really glad that there is no friendly fire. Otherwise, Tifa would have probably died like 20 times.
She would have been cut in half at that point.
Well, friendly fire in an action RPG is rarely a good idea anyway. In a turn-based combat, yeah, that way you can probably control how things are done. But in an action RPG,
I
mentioned that in one of the previous parts. For turn-based, it makes sense for you to strategize and use it to your advantage for stuff like when allies are inflicted with like the sleep debuff, for example. But for action-based, normally it's not recommended, but that doesn't stop some developers to put it in just to be dicks, unless. Like I said, the ideal compromise is to have it happening only when a character is inflicted by the Chaos debuff, but I'll mention more later. Oh, guess they were just stowed away and now we teleported.
They were literally spirited away.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Cloud's here too.
So why'd you kids come out all this way?
This is where our parents are. They're resting, but we wanted
But
to
you're
see-
orphans.
Yeah, that's kind of what that means, Joe.
That's another one I owe you. We're gonna head back to
So they went to see their parents and got kidnapped by other ghosts. Unless those ghosts were their parents and we just killed their parents again.
Okay,
At least we got a materia.
Yeah, we got. Speaking of materia, we got time materia now.
Oh boy.
For a second, I got it confused with the pedometer materia.
Then there are games, not necessarily RPG for that matter, either turn-based or action, that decide it's a good idea to implement friendly fire when it's absolutely not necessary, like fucking Battletoads.
Oh god, Battletoads.
Seriously, don't understand why it was a thing. But
because the primary design philosophy for Battletoads was to make the
no fun allowed.
Was to make the most frustrating game ever created.
And wouldn't you know, they succeeded in some of the worst ways possible. It lasted for one episode.
It only had a canned pilot, which I think was unfinished, like the Bubsy one.
It's one of those cases where, like, what are you talking about, Pedro? Like, Big Rigs is a far more broken game. Well, yeah, true. Unlike Big Rigs, Battletoads works as intended. The problem is that the intended is to annoy the player to the point of madness. So, yeah. I'm not entirely sure which one is worse, really.
If
anything, at the very least, Big Rigs can be laughed at.
I still maintain that
Battletoads allows you to go backwards at 1,000 miles an hour, I'd buy it.
I still maintain that the rat race is the absolute worst part of that game.
No, Jova, the race against the stupid Jolly Ball, nothing beats that.
Well, hell, Battletoads has that over Big Rigs. At least Battletoads has a bloody race.
At least in the rat race, Jova, you're allowed to make a mistake here and there. In the swirly ball race, it's either perfection or death.
Yeah.
I guess I think I'll go with the swirly ball. At least it's a bit easier to memorize the patterns, whereas with the rat race...
Well, there's no real pattern to memorize. It's literally the exact same type of platforms over and over, really.
Also, there you go. Like, with from this chapter onward, a sort of fast travel is opened through sectors 5 and 6 with the Chocobo carriage. Again, a nice way to incorporate that, too.
Oh boy, Walmart.
A brief one at that. Yeah, because you don't listen way too much. I'm still taking this over whatever the hell that was in 13.2.
You wanna ride some Chocobo?
Again, no hard feelings towards the singer because I love him for when he sings for Devil May Cry. It's just time and place.
You just gave me an idea of what song I can use in my current editing of FIFA.
Yes, Dwibs. Thankfully, you yourself are your most detrimental, thing towards that plan because you'll probably forget it after we're done with this part.
But remember, Tio, this is being recorded. I can listen to it back.
And I can edit this piece out if I want to, Dwibs.
Oh, come on, Tio, play fair.
The thing is that you wouldn't do that.
The point is, who has the knife by the handle? Bitch.
I thought you said the scissors. Isn't the usual
my country has a way of saying that, when someone is at the advantage, I have the knife by the handle.
Hey, Chocobo Sam.
I bet good money those wandering birds are mine.
You reminds me a lot of a character that I saw in a review of a PC game where there was this low budget Western themed, modern Westernish themed game where everyone had this annoying thick Southern accent, except the main protagonist for some reason sounds like he was trying to do an impersonation of Elvis when he was doing that spoken speech album.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the game now, but
yeah.
It is nice that we get to see what Walmart is like in the daytime.
Go on.
If I remember correctly, this is also where you're gonna have that side quest where you fight that gigantic. Not gigantic. Sorry, the behemoth boss battle.
Yeah.
That boss in particular can be a fucking pain in hard mode. So I do recommend some preparation for it. See if you can get the gear. Well, yeah, no. By that point, you probably be technically harder anyway. No, don't get the gear armor wrong for it, I guess. basically, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's the ultimate accessory of this game is called Gia Damerung. Like, I don't know.
Damerung, I think it's called.
Damerung. It allows it allows it allows you to start every battle with the
Oh shit.
Oh snap.
But yeah, I know about that.
That accessory basically, well, for those who don't know, that accessory allows you to start every battle with your limit break gauge already full, and it makes the limit break gauge fill faster. So basically, put it on Cloud, and you're good to go.
Almost a shame Cloud doesn't have Omni Slash yet.
The problem is you have to basically defeat the hardest bout in the colored ZM in the post game to get it.
Well, Jova, there needs to be some good escalation. Again, this is also why the level cap is raised at 50 in this game. Probably because the next couple of parts will progress in that kind of direction by giving the pre-existing characters more abilities and more limits and higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud, your enemy is not that still good.
We make a decent team.
Who would have thought, huh?
That's adorable.
I wouldn't be surprised if part 2 of this project applies a similar thing that Final Fantasy VIII did, where the enemies scale up with you.
I hope not. I really hated the mechanic back then, and I wouldn't recommend for a game like this.
Okay. A mechanic like that works for if you want to do grinding like everywhere possible. Like, okay, in that case, by all means, have them scale up. But if you want to just breeze through stuff and you're at a higher level, I can see how having stuff scale up can get annoying.
That doesn't become a problem, Joe. I like to mention various times. Final Fantasy VIII, it's incredibly easy to break and make yourself invisible anyway.
An actual good tactic is to not level up at all, and thanks to the audio system, you program your junctions. You basically break the game because your character have basically unlimited stats. The most that he can have, while the enemies, of course, stay to level 1, so they are super weak as a result.
Barrett,
this applies to bosses too, by the way.
What are you doing? Barrett was just walking in place there for some reason. It's like, I don't think to be fair, he's only got one human arm, so it's not like he could climb up.
I don't know, Terry. It worked perfectly fine in Stick of Truth, so...
I guess, but that works differently as well.
Anyway, guys, this smogger fucker is gonna die. Get it? Smogger?
But the story lives.
Yeah, but you better get away from it.
Also, Square tried the whole level scaling again in the last Remnant, although in that case the game is actively designed to punish you if you grind too much.
Really?
It's a bit complicated because the battle system of Last Remnant works in a very specific way. But the gist of it is that that everyone tell you, do not grind too much, otherwise you will soft lock yourself, essentially.
Oh, I don't know how to feel about that.
Anyway, so, yeah.
Oh, it's a bolt note.
Hey there,
we'll get to them later.
Mm-hmm. Name's Murray. Cloud and me, well, let's just say we're recent acquaintances.
What are you doing here?
Same thing as you, if I had to guess. Hunting for Don Corneo's
Oh, are you now?
Now, how'd you know about that?
Well, there's nothing I love more than a good rumor. But I decided
Actual lines from Smash players.
I still don't understand how this.
If the angel of the slums
she doesn't look like she's the fighting type. She doesn't look exactly young. So how the hell did she manage to get around with all these monsters? Exactly.
Not even that. She, thanks to her equipment, she's kind of like Captain Toad. I don't see her being agile enough to, run from place to place
Maybe
and doing
just
acrobatic
stealthy.
stuff.
If you did manage to get your hands on this treasure,
Maybe she's secretly a god.
Easy.
Wouldn't be the first time.
To get back on their feet. That's what. We'd use that creep's fortune to better the lives of everyone down here.
That's a nice advent.
Right. Back to this rumor. Word on the street says the angel doesn't have the key.
Oh.
If you want the full story.
So Tia, were you able to guess who the angel was?
Yeah,
the first
pretty
time?
much.
I already guessed it. I already guessed it in chapter 9.
Pretty much. I would argue by the end of the first side quest, if you paid enough attention, you can guess easily.
Yeah, with this side quest, we're gonna have to talk to basically a version of Aunt Akamaki if it went completely against her ideals.
Again, Kira is all about spreading false rumors if she can gain profit from it.
That journalist's a real pain in the ass.
It's the typical. It's like, I'm not gonna spoil anything just in case, but at the same time, if you know anything about how this type of story usually goes, you immediately realize how it is. Like, it's a very common trope.
If anything, it reminds a lot of the formula of one of the late-on anime episodes or the Yokai Watch backstories.
Yeah, like the Japanese writers love to use this type of story.
A lot.
It's very versatile. I will give that. It's a malleable structure that can be plasmed towards any kind of characters and settings. Yeah, there's also another thing that I actually haven't studied properly, like the rate on how the enemies respawn in the area.
Honestly, no, go ahead and finish too.
No. The thing is that this game grinding properly in this game is, at least for me, I found it a bit weird because the rate of which enemies do respawn in specific areas seems to vary depending on the zone you are. So at best cases you have to do like the Dark Souls method and going from point A to B back and forward and see what happens.
Honestly, the last time Nojima and Kitase tried to be super duper creative, we got the plot of Final Fantasy VIII, so maybe it's for the best if we apply similar formulas.
Okay. To be fair, I wouldn't even call 8 the worst thing ever.
Oh, it's not. Well, neither did I. It's just that
I will say
basically, I'm recording that game for this channel as we speak right now.
Okay.
So
I will say this, Joe. Hold on.
I'll
Just
just say
time
like
for
this.
more some Johnny weird shit.
Bro, Tifa! Damn, is it good to see you guys again?
Are you okay, dude?
No, it's not.
Bro, I'm in serious need of your expertise. Lend me a hand? Fine. What?
Truth is, I'm trying to get out of
Okay.
town for reasons. Yeah,
What did you do?
The thing is, I got mugged. She took it. Took
Ooh,
it
the
all,
little
man.
girl.
I tried to chase her down. I really did. But she was real fast, like, man.
Did you get mugged by a child?
This could be the end for
He got kidnapped by Heart the cat.
Someone stole his wallet.
I forgot actually. What is the secret character in Sonic the Fighters?
For a second, I thought you were making a Morgana joke.
The one that was exclusive for the arcade version, but got included.
Yeah, Rosie?
Was it Park?
No, not
The
Rosie.
female character.
Rosie the Rascal, yeah.
Rosie the Rascal. Yeah.
Rosie the Rascal? That's Amy's
I'll
original
check in the
name.
meantime.
Yeah, I think that's Amy's sub name for whenever you pick
But
her in
they
that game.
tried to
Actually.
use it for another character.
The point is that Johnny got his wallet stolen and we need to get it. I'm checking in the meantime. Go on, Joe.
Clumsy Johnny. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like I was saying though, I'd be willing to risk another Final Fantasy VIII, you know what I mean? Final Fantasy VIII is one of those weird cases
Now
where...
we got a remix of Descendant of Shinobi, aka Yuffie's theme.
Final Fantasy VIII is the kind of thing where, yeah, it is clumsy. Mind you, I've sort of been playing it. I'll admit, I kind of can get some enjoyment out of playing it so far. Like, maybe I haven't gotten to, like, where it gets real bone-dead stupid or something, but, I mean, it's not a bad experience so far.
Well, I can tell you this, Jova. pretty much since the start of this creed, it becomes your average teen romance story like Twilight. So get ready for it.
Wait,
but I argue that even, well, in terms of story, I know that updated releases don't have that anymore.
Well, remember, Job, it's a 4-disc game.
Updated releases don't have that structure anymore, I think.
I can tell that in the re-remastered, whenever you save, it still counts. They removed the disc change thingy from the remaster. However, whenever you save the game, it still tells you which disc you're in. So they didn't take that, at least. So you can still tell in which disc you're in.
Okay then. No, but there's the thing, Java. Even before that, I was mentioning this to Pedro in off commentary and everything. 8 has like maybe an interesting idea at its core, the very beginning, that you see these school of cadets of young people being sent out to war, a concept that Type 0 will revisit later on, you know. But in some areas it's very similar to the beginning of Final Fantasy IV, where you have the main character doing a job with a military type of job with conflicting ideas. He doesn't know if the organization is working for, is worth to go through it, and he has a rival, only that Safer is not really as charismatic as Kane, but I digress.
Honestly, though, Cypher spends most of the time throughout the game off-screen anyway. So much for rivalry between the two. I mean, they spend so much time apart. Like, go ahead.
But the problem, Java, to me is that as soon as you start knowing a bit more of the outside world, it all falls apart because the world of 8 tries to be very mundane.
Number 2,
yeah. Also, Jova, this is a high note, compared to what you said before about the cuteness of the Chocobos, I think that they started introducing, I think, either from 9 or 10, but 12 definitely confirm, is that while Chocobos are good as steeds, they're not good as pet animals because they stink a lot. So...
Oh, that's you who stole... Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well.
Wow, if it isn't the anti-Takamaki.
What? It wasn't me. You've got the wrong girl.
So
my
before she became a
God,
fair
lady.
researcher,
But that's
Harley was...
totally what somebody who's never committed a crime.
Do you
committed a
even
crime
have a
does.
soul?
So yes, before she became a fairy rapist, Harley was actually a pickpocket.
So she was a pickpocket, then a fairy rapist, and then somehow turned into a caring individual, yet also a thief.
That was molested by their gene teacher.
Yeah, well, I thought it was her best friend that got.
And was also on their way. With a choral remix film.
Are you serious?
Stole from them too, did you?
No.
You know, Kyrie, there's a point where you need to start thinking about what you're doing.
Jerks won't leave me alone.
I don't think Kiri's doing much of thinking.
What's the big deal anyway?
Otherwise, you end up with a whole load of shit.
Yep, that was her.
Oh, great. So everyone's talking about it? Is this the end?
You deserved it.
Why the dramatics?
She's trying to get sympathy.
Yeah.
But she's very bad at it.
Just give us the money you stole from our friend, would you? And the key while you're at it.
Yeah.
No way! You're gonna split the second.
And you deserve more from us. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
You don't deserve the help.
We'll handle Shinra if you give us the key. Deal?
Yeah, no, well, Barret turns to Cloud and looks like, seriously?
The tears turn
And
off.
there go the waterworks, or quote-unquote waterworks.
Yeah, I know, right? She's so able to control herself. So.
Well, remember, this is Cloud. He's just being pragmatic and go, okay, let's just help her to get the
He wants to get over the shit, yeah.
I don't really care. Can we just move on?
Yeah, pretty much.
As much as
Tomboy bandit.
I mean,
Once I know I'm safe.
The other option is obviously, I guess, for Cloud can forcibly take the wallet and the key from her, but that would probably be
the last
consequences for
as
him,
far as
probably.
Cloud is concerned, the last thing he wants to do is give her some actual real ammo to work with.
Well, I mean, Tifa could do it.
Kyrie, you live in a city that the president can order at will to have part of it dropped on you if he feels you're even a slight threat to him. You will never be safe.
Well, actually, sure, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like, criminal charges. Not what you were thinking in particular. I meant in general.
Anyway, the character was mentioned before. Yes, actually was right. It's Honey the cat, which in herself is a reference to fighting vipers.
Mm-hmm. All right then. But yeah, no. Let me allow me to continue from Teo's point. No, that's I can tell you this right now, Joe, because I'm like about halfway through this too, so I have the game fresh in my mind right now. Like. Here are the two primary problems with Final Fantasy that I can tell you right now. One, the world building. The world building of this game is so inconceivably incompetent to the point where there's so little of it, and even when there is some world building, it's usually a completely silly concept like Master Norg. Don't worry, you'll see it for yourself when we get to it. Like
basically, Dwibs, the game has a Doctor Who kind of like twist.
Yes.
Well, what game does 8 or
8? But keep in mind, Dwibs, the 10th Doctor era, so no more fat shenanigans involved.
Well, it's not like 9 and 10 were free of their issues either.
You'll see.
No. I do no. For as much as I love Final Fantasy X, I don't like how they handle Necron.
I think
No, I was referring 9th or 10th Doctor, Pedro.
Oh, never mind then. Sorry. Well, yeah. And the big problem, Jova, is the character development, or lack thereof, because the game does so little in terms of effort to actually flesh out the bloody characters that it's frustrating. I have no idea why I'm supposed to care about Quistis. She has given 0 personality traits. And guess what? Guess what's her first personality that they gave her? She's completely incapable of prioritizing in the heat of a moment. Teo knows what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So basically,
that's the first primary character trait. It's one of those things, Jova, where you might think, well, okay, that's kind of out of character because she's supposed to be the calm, experienced. Professor type character, right? That's the problem. You'd think that's who she is, considering the way she's drawn, but no, they don't really establish that she's experienced and calm, so I can even say it's out of her character because there's no character for her to go out of.
So it sounds like 8 is sort of a case where the problems are more realized by like the second disc as opposed to where I am in the game.
I would argue that goes straight from the beginning, but again, that I can.
Yeah, in fact, I can. For the way you said it, Pedro, it's like those. It's like some of those videos people make, where it's like, oh, from the second one everything goes down. It's like in 8's case, it would be. You see, the choir is extremely out of stuff. And
let me put it this way, Dwibs. I know I keep bringing this up, but it's the best example I can think of from this one that doesn't involve any kind of spoilers. So it's the best thing I can use without going into spoiler territory. Like, what's the point of having a heart-to-heart conversation between Squall and Quistis if you're not actually going to have them, talk to each other, actually express their feelings to each other, so we can actually, get to know them in some level? But no, instead we just have Quistis talking to the air while Squall is just there being the master of ellipses.
Whatever.
So, like that kind of destroys the whole point of a heart-to-heart conversation. Like,
regardless of the outcome, mind you. Because you think that it's not just a matter of having, because since the heart-to-heart conversation that they're having in that moment involves romantic feelings, you think, oh, because I just want to see these two kissing. Not necessarily. What Pedro said also, it's basically just the point. Have the scene have a point. The only point that I can think of that scene has is to establish the fact that Swall is terrible in social skills. So fair enough, but considering that particular bit takes quite a bit of a game, it's not just a matter of like a sightseeing event, doing an event. You actively have to go through the training ground, which it counts as a mini dungeon basically, where fucking T-Rexes hang around and they can maul you if they want. It takes a bit of time, you know, and the talk is kind of the payoff to that. So it's a bit disrespectful.
I actually thought of another moment that I can mention, and I can phrase it in a way that I can phrase it vaguely in a way that doesn't spoil.
Go on.
Allow me. You know, Taylor will know what I mean when I say it. There's a particular moment where the garden needs to be saved from an impending problem that's about to happen. And what do the characters do? They demand that Squall take over the controls and try to save solve the problem, even though he has zero experience on any of this shit. In fact, nobody has. But apparently Squall is the one who's... Sid flat out tells him, Squall, you try and do something. What? Okay, if you moron, you built this place, and you don't know how to operate it. What makes you think Squall does?
There's Chocobo number 3. Actually, I don't remember. Well, I think there is that one particular NPC that actually has piloting skills, but I think it's showcased only later on. Well,
I can tell you, if there is an NPC on Balam Garden that knows that would know how to pilot this thing that nobody knew was there, then I didn't find him in my playthrough. Sorry.
Well, I forgot. It's the other cadet that gets graduated to Seed alongside as well, and the others. I forgot what he's called, or I forgot even if he's a boy or girl. I'll check in the meantime.
But if I'm going to address the social skills that Teo was mentioning. Again, it's just them trying to recapture what made Cloud a great character, but failing horribly because the entire process is done in a way that doesn't because. Okay, let me compare. With Cloud, not only is Cloud much more multifaceted of a character in general. The other characters are there to do a great bouncing off of him, whereas all the other characters really do to Squall is annoy him, really.
Yeah.
All Selfie does is
also random. Same goes for Zell.
Same goes for Zell. Irvine is a freaking. I don't even know what Irvine is supposed to be.
Who says Selfie?
Irvine tries to be the cool loner cowboy type, but as soon as the first mission, he cracks up and tells that he's insecure and doesn't know what to do with his life, which I guess I can relate, but way to undermine the characterization.
That's the problem, too. You and I both know why he won't shoot her. The problem is, you'd think he would tell them, and it's like,
once again, like I mentioned in another part, I think it doesn't even matter anyway if he did shoot or not, but that's reserved for the game proper.
Like I said, there's always Selfie with her whip.
Actually, Joe,
it's Quistis that has the whip, actually.
Selfie has the nunchaku, yeah.
Selfie has nunchucks.
God, I could have sworn it was Selfie that had the whip.
No, don't worry, Jova. Let me see, characters. What's the matter, Dwibs? I'm in trouble?
Yes. These guys are tough.
You gotta have the right materia.
And yet this isn't going to be the most embarrassing part on my part.
Great.
It's mostly this thing. No, go ahead.
It is admittedly sort of the thing, though. Like, unless you have the right materia, some battles are going to take quite a bit of time. Which, again, you can. Okay, there is logical debate to be had about whether or not, okay, it's nice that, it's good to think intuitively, but there are some cases where it feels like, okay, you have to literally prep for every single little possible step along the way at times. Some of which you probably won't know until you actually scan the enemies beforehand.
A good JRPG battle system is flexible to the point where even if you don't prepare in advance, it's still possible to beat the battle if you know what you're doing. A good I'll give credit, and it's probably because of Trias, most likely. Like Lightning Returns battle system does do that well.
Yeah, okay. It's like I said, Maple. It's not like this is always a problem, but I can understand some people who may have some complaints about certain battles in this game really dragging on because you didn't bring this particular set of materia.
That's why I absolutely abhor the Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2 battle systems.
Oh God, those.
Well, okay, so I guess you can argue that 13-2 does fix some things, but 13-1 in particular, that battle system is probably one of the most inflexible ever. You have to defeat the bosses the specific way the developers intend you to do, otherwise you'll die. I'm not even kidding. The game will literally cast doom on you and kill you.
You know, how funny is it that the game that has arguably the worst battle system of the three is still widely considered to be the best of the 13 trilogy?
It's mostly because, Joe, it's the only one that feels like we're at the very least trying to be something good.
True, yeah. But yeah, you're right. That battle system is all kinds of terrible and constrained.
And with that, we have properly saved the third and final Chocobo.
I think there are 4 in total.
This is the fourth.
This is the 4th one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Also, about that embarrassing moment, I mentioned, don't worry, I don't get a game over.
Anyway, Pedro, I found the character. It's called Nida. There you go. And yeah, he's male. And yeah, it's just that I thought after the sequence that you mentioned, he does become the pilot.
Okay then.
But keep in mind, there is a story reason. He actually gets trained by the place where the seed goes to be, and he gets trained to be a pirate. A pilot. So
well, that doesn't erase what I was trying to say.
No, I understand. No, it just proves that Seed, technically speaking, had not instructed any of the Seed candidates to actually pilot a vehicle.
So what you're telling me is that Sid is a freaking moron.
It's funny. You miss saying pirate as pilot or vice versa. You know what's funny? That is literally the instigating factor of the plot of Pirates and
Okay, Sam, how do you feel about getting your Chocobos back?
Aww.
He looks so happy about it.
Finally get back to the business of business. Thanks, partner. Here, y'all earn this.
Okay, so good news now. We can ride on Chocobos however many times we like at no charge.
Yeah.
A free fast travel.
That's a nice reward.
What would we do without them? They're the reason a guy like me can keep a roof over his head in a town like this. And that's
Aw, we've gotten to know him well enough that he won't lie to us.
He's crossing his fingers behind his back.
But his hands are right there.
I'm actually wondering how they're gonna handle fast travel in the second part, considering we don't get to the Chocobo farm until way later.
Wait, I've got it. Chocobo Sam will take his stuff on the road because, I don't know, maybe Midgar's falling on hard times or Shinra's ramping up security, so he has to get the heck out of Dodge.
Especially considering that the continent we're on right now is currently divided by the mountains, and the travel is impossible between the two because the Mithril mines are guarded by the Midgar Zolom. So, yeah.
I'm gonna guess that maybe it's a case of Chocobo Sam expanding his business outside of Midgar.
They can find a good reason for justifying that, I can imagine. Anyway, see you for the next part, I guess.
See you there.
Yeah, but we will continue our side quests in the ruins of the slums. Well, implying that the slums weren't ruined to begin with.
We'll see you then.